JustinFREAKIN, the formidable voice of culture.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live. New look, same great troll taste. Gotta change my camera up a little bit here. See, Smokey knocked it off last night. You're asking why is everything different, and I've been like fucking consulting you the entire time I've been putting this together, motherfucker. Like, oh, this is the new layout for the Troll Patrol. Welcome, welcome. I'm snitching? I'm snitching on Warlord. I was just kind of taken aback by the fact that, like, you were one of the only people that was seeing the redesign as I was doing it. And you're like, why does everything look different? I almost broke this out for the Walker-Warnock debate and just had the Troll Patrol logo down at the bottom and have the, like, pumpkin head. Lenny, good evening. There may be tweaks to what's going on here as we figure out how everything works. Clinically, Lenny, Warlord, good evening, my friends. I think RB is in here too. I think I saw RB. Maybe I didn't. Not yet. RB pop in here in a second. But I wanted to, okay, so the main complaint that I've heard throughout my time doing the show has been that, like, the graphics are too busy. There's too much shit on the screen, so we streamlined everything. We tried to make it look more appealing so that we get more viewers in here. Because I'm hustling my ass off. Warlord asking about the balls that are apparently taking over downtown London. I don't know that was in London, actually. That seems like a freaking news freak show kind of story. Mox, good evening. Oh, it was in London. Gigantic balls are taking over London, which last time I checked, I wasn't in London. I was in Tennessee. What did Tennessee? The same thing Arkansas. I had an old hippie woman that I hooked up with one time. She said that to me. I was like, that is the lamest fucking joke. And I've used it at least 10 times. So welcome, welcome. We've still, everything still works the way it did before. You can still redeem your 10 minutes of no profanity. Clock pops up right there. Not so much shit moving around. And the thing that I think you're gonna like the most is that they've redeemed the no profanity on me. Thanks, Warlord. I assume it was you. The thing that I think you're gonna like the most is when we get to the watch screen. Why are you telling me to reset the clock when I just started it? More streamlined. More streamlined is exactly what it is. Oh, for some reason 10 minutes didn't stay up though. We're gonna have to figure that one out. It should have stayed up, but it didn't. Once again, we're gonna have to work out some of the kinks. It's gonna stay up when I go to the watch screen. Give you your meme of the day. No, it's not. God damn it. And there I just cussed again. I don't even have the countdown up there on this screen. My apologies. Once again, working out some of the kinks. Weed indeed. Still going to have the guy kicked in the balls? Well, of course. Balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
New look. Same great Troll Patrol. Kinks. You guys talking about kinks? You know what I have to say about your kinks, right?
You live in sexual anarchy?
Gonna take me a second to get as fast with them as I was before. This is a different setup. Oh, telling me to show a cat. Oh, by the way, you do not get an animal video tonight. No animal video tonight. Sorry. Instead of an animal video, you get to meet the newest kitty here in the house. Yes, we now have a new kitty. You will get to meet Trixie by the end of the stream. Trixie is 5 weeks old. Trixie is very small. Very small. But since I have to show a cat now, here's you a Smokey. Here's you a Smokey. Who last night, probably about 5:30 or something, I was finishing up some work I was doing About 5:30, Smokey jumps in my fucking lap, knocks my tea over on the desk. And then one of them had vomited in the floor over here, and I wasn't aware. And when I got up to get the tea off of me, I stepped in vomit. How was your morning? Thanks, Smokey. Get wrecked, lib. So I woke up this morning and Smokey's cuddled up with me. And I'm looking over at him. I'm like, oh, you're such a sweet baby. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, you're not. You spilled tea on me last night. And then made me step in vomit. So yeah, sorry, we're still working out the kinks here. I do not have the countdown here. We're gonna have to work on making sure that the countdown stays up when we switch screens. It shouldn't. I know what I'm gonna have to do. I know what I'm gonna have to do for it though. I think I've already figured out the issue. We'll do that right there. And then boom, it stays up. Boom. Perfect. Fixed it already. Look at the big brain on freaking. Did I already smoke some pot? Because I'm not high enough for this. Poop. The one issue I am seeing thus far is that my camera is actually slightly behind me. I don't know if the audio is not matching up with me the way it is for you guys. But in this scenario, the camera is like slightly off and it's fucking with me because it's never happened before. Oh, god damn it. Motherfuck, shit, fuck, titty fuck. There we go. Resetting the clock. But this is a news show. That's what you guys came for. That's one of the reasons why the streamlined look. So that when people are looking for some place to get their news from, they actually come to me instead of being turned off by all the shit that's on the... God damn it. By all the shit that's on the screen. In a way, it makes me sad. Hitting that clock early is the play. Oh, you come for the memes. Fair enough, fair enough. And your meme of the day was Mario apparently having a heart attack after waking up on November 1st and eating 20 Reese cups the night before. Anybody get any fentanyl in their candy? Anybody get any good drugs last night? Any of your kids getting good drugs? We played Five Nights at Freddy's. And if you missed it, allow me to show you the best part of playing Five Nights at Freddy's last night. Hold on. Bet that's going to pop up behind me, isn't it? Show you the best part of playing Five Nights at Freddy's last night. Nope, wrong one. wrong thing. Duck's coming for me too now. Now the duck is actually scary to me. It got me. That was good. It wasn't clinically, I still barely understand that game. After that, we played Dark Pictures Anthology, and I really liked that. We played Little Hope. We got 2 or 3 chapters into it. It's one of those where, like, your decisions determine what happens in the game. You've got, like, a group of 6, 7, 8 people or whatever, most of them teenagers. I don't own Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I believe Five Nights at Freddy's was a free game on PS Plus one time. We can look into it. I want to actually finish Little Hope though. That was a lot of fun. Oh, Kesha's behind me, not mine. Screwing everything up over here. Not that it's bad to have Kesha up behind me, but it just kind of doesn't go with the motif, right? Okay, did he look like Don Cheadle? Later on, he rode by on his bike and startled us as we were going across it looked like the bridge from Beetlejuice. Also, RB, I think you popped in. Good evening, my friend. And weed indeed. Not high enough for this bull. We definitely got some nonsense to talk about on the show tonight. I hate having to keep bringing him up. But apparently Kanye West was at his kid's soccer game and started a whole argument and stormed off, and we have video of it. I can't avoid it. I can't avoid it. I have to watch it. We'll see if we get to this one. I might chuck this one and save it for tomorrow night. Now, tomorrow night we have the Don Bulldog, the Republican nominee in New Hampshire, taking on Maggie Hassan, the Democratic incumbent. That is an important seat for Democrats to hold if they want to hold on to the Senate. We'll be watching that debate tomorrow night. I might save this clip of Rush Limbaugh's wife on with Glenn Beck. I think that happened earlier today. It might have been yesterday. But apparently Glenn Beck was sucking up to Rush Limbaugh's, I assume, third wife, not second or first wife.
As a conservative, it's getting harder and harder to not look like a kook.
So I do want to get into that at some point in time, but we might not have time for it because it's a rather long clip. So we might save that for tomorrow night when we're doing the Bulldog Hassan debate. Last night's Powerball fell on a Halloween. Obviously not a lucky night for someone because nobody won. 1.2 billion is what the jackpot is up to now. A college professor in Tennessee was fired. Nope, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. He resigned after viral video caught him yelling at a student. Got video from inside the courtroom at the Parkland shooters, I believe, sentencing. The judge went off on the defense. So I can't avoid watching that one. We got two stories that are currently ongoing that we're going to try to get an update for. Cops shot in Newark, New Jersey. There is a manhunt underway that happened a few hours ago. I checked about a half hour ago to see if there was an update, and they had not caught the man as of yet. We'll see if we can get an update when we get down to that story. Also, a shooting in Denver. At least 6 victims, 1 dead. Just another day in mass shooting USA. So we'll check in with yet another shooting in Denver. You remember I bring up the dude about a year and a half ago maybe, that shot up Denver that Zuby had on his show? A congressman in Georgia used donor funds to try to fight the subpoena regarding his role in subverting the 2020 election. The Supreme Court has refused to block Lindsey Graham from testifying in the Georgia election probe. The Trump team in New York has turned on former CFO Alan Weisselberg. Threw him under the bus. we've got an interview with one of Trump's exes, who I may be reading this headline wrong. Apparently she's still in contact with Donald, and Donald told her that he did indeed get intelligence from the white side of her family. I don't know. We're gonna hear the interview. I've got multiple clips of Fox News getting triggered. Fox is upset about cats. Fox is upset about The View talking about Donald Trump costumes. Ted Cruz is upset at Donald Trump for not sharing some of that money he's been raising. GOP appointees to a Wisconsin Tech school board are refusing to resign even though their terms have expired. Dr. Oz. We've got Dr. Oz news. I know one of Warlord's favorite people, and the GOP candidate Warlord is rooting for the most. Dr. Oz asked a surgeon to downplay his role in puppy murder. I wish I was joking. Dr. Oz once had research rejected and was temporarily banned from submitting research. Also, Herschel Walker. I don't even know which one of these women we're going to hear from tonight. One of the multiple, there's at least two I know of, women that have accused Herschel Walker of paying for abortions. One accused him of forcing her to have an abortion. I think that's the one we're going to hear from tonight. The one that was forced to have an abortion by Herschel Walker that didn't want to. He's still the pro-life candidate, though, of course. My God, I saw some show interviewed a voter in Georgia, and this woman said, I think Herschel Walker's a good Christian man, that's why I'm voting for him. Against the Reverend Raphael Warnock. Herschel Walker, the man who paid for abortions and beat his wife and has been a deadbeat dad, as his kids have testified to. That's a good Christian man. Not the Reverend Raphael Warnock. That one's weird to me. Walker, good Christian man. The Reverend, not. Junior Sino. More like Junior Senile, apparently. What's going on, my friend? Disposable Thumb, good evening. Mox, did I say hey to you? That's a great idea. Walker needs to start his own Planned Parenthood. Now, apparently abortions are a very lucrative industry. This is according to a candidate in Michigan who is a QAnon whack job and is definitely going all out on the blood libel. Meanwhile, do you remember the libertarian I made fun of when we did the Blake Masters, Mark Kelly debate in Arizona? The one where I almost brought up age of consent, like don't ask him about age of consent earlier in the debate when he was making sense. And then later on in the debate, he actually did bring up age of consent. He's like, reasonable people can disagree on the age of consent. And I'm like, my God, he actually did it. Well, that dude has dropped out and endorsed Blake Masters. And apparently it's a good 2 or 3 points that he might be throwing the way of Republican candidate Blake Masters, who it might make a difference. It might make a difference come a week from tonight. We are a week away from Election Day in USA. Don Lemon mocked Carrie Lake, the GOP candidate for governor in Arizona. Meanwhile, also in Arizona, a judge has okayed armed men at the drop boxes. No legal action can be taken against men that are trying to intimidate voters by staking out at drop boxes. Plus, we're going to talk about a video showing the Ukrainian resistance taking out Russian choppers. We're going to talk about the elections in Denmark and Israel, and the rise of a new Palestinian resistance movement. All that and more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening to everyone. Mox, I like Dave Weigel an awful lot, but I am hoping I'm still right and he is wrong. I'm sticking with my prediction that Democrats are going to pick up 2 seats in the Senate. I don't see Fetterman losing, especially with the deluge of information that we've got coming out about Dr. Oz that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I don't see Warnock losing in Georgia, especially given the interview we're going to hear from Herschel Walker's accuser later on in this show. Don Lemon, not John Lennon. John Lennon dead. It would be great to hear what John Lennon has to say about shit now. I would assume he would be very much liberal hippie douche. But you never know. John Lennon, like, he may have gone full MAGA and be like, it's the Republicans that are punk rock now. Smoking a cigarette. These damn wokies. Oh, anti-cancel culture John Lennon is what we might have got. He'd be an old douche by now. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, technically, he was one of the original woke liberal hippie douches, right? Which is weird to me, because I meet a lot of right-wingers that think the Beatles are just the pinnacle of music. And like, you listen to those lyrics and you still have right-wing opinions. It boggles my mind. I mean, yeah, McCartney's still pretty based. Who got canceled? Cancel JustinFREAKIN. Alright, so let's test out our new layout when it comes to news stories. Let's see how well this is going to work. Let's move to Ukraine. Our Ukrainian saboteurs destroy 2 Ka-52 helicopters at a Russian airbase. I'll make this a little bigger for you guys. The daring raid 500 miles from the Ukrainian border also severely damaged 2 other choppers at the Veritai base in the Pskov region. I'm sure I butchered several of those words. Ukrainian saboteurs filmed themselves planting explosives on Russian attack helicopters in an audacious clandestine raid on an air base 500 miles from the Ukrainian border. You guys are getting ready to see the video. 2 Russian Ka-52 helicopters were completely destroyed, and another 2 were badly damaged in the attack. So here is the should be really killer video. This seems to be them assembling the charges. Why wouldn't you have already had those assembled before you got to where the hell? Because you're on a Russian base, correct? Has the Russian base been abandoned? You gotta love that we're getting selfie videos out of a war. What a time to be alive. It looks like he's planting his... Yeah, I've never blown up a helicopter, so I don't know what the best course of action is. It looks like he's planting it up top. I would think you'd want to plant it closest to the engine, but then again, he's closer to the wings and the blades. So maybe that's a factor. I don't know. Yeah, I've never blown up a helicopter. I don't. He did it just for the gram. Now, oftentimes when we watch viral videos like this, I'm always weary of them being staged. This came out of a war, though. But we didn't see the video of the helicopters blowing up. Now, I would assume that dude was far away from wherever the fucking explosion was by the time he set off the charge. So, fair enough. But I still would have liked to have seen video of the explosion. Just planting the explosives didn't actually, tickle my taint all that much. I made it the 10 minutes, didn't I? 10 minutes isn't a thing anymore. Good. On to Denmark, which held an election earlier today. Social Democrats lead, but no majority. Exit polls suggest. I do believe we're only going to get exit polls when we talk about the Israeli election here in just a second, too. Mette Frederiksen's party predicted to have about 23% of the vote, which could make the former PM Roch Rasmussen kingmaker. We're reading from The Guardian, so once again, as I've pointed out on multiple occasions, written for a higher grade level than U.S. media. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen's Social Democrats have finished first in Denmark's election, exit polls have suggested, but neither the ruling left or rival right bloc are heading for a majority, setting up her predecessor and his new centrist party as the kingmakers. So the centrists are either going to side with the right or the left in this. But the Prime Minister's red bloc of left-leaning parties was projected to fall short of the 90-seat requirement for a majority in the 179-seat parliament, with only 85 seats. The opposition blue bloc of rightist parties also looked set to fail, returning 73 MPs. If confirmed, the result could make Lars Løkke Rasmussen, the former center-right prime minister beaten by Frederiksen in 2019, the kingmaker. With the 17 MPs projected for his new centrist party, the moderates holding the balance of power. The result could be the first centrist coalition bridging Denmark's traditional left-right divide since the 1970s. That's what I'm saying. The centrists usually break right. We're hoping for a government with the Liberals, Rasmussen's former party, the Social Democrats, and the moderates, Jacob Engel-Schmidt. Isn't that a song? Jacob Engel-Schmidt, the centrist party's deputy leader, said after the exit polls. So the party position apparently is to say that they're going to form a party with the leftists. Analysts have warned negotiations to form a new government could take weeks or even months, with both blocs potentially seeking to outbid each other to secure Rasmussen's backing and with it a parliamentary majority. Carpe Pax, good evening. John Jacob Heisenschmidt. Heimerschmidt, yes. I'm sorry, that's your name. Motherfucker's cracking me up over here. I'm sorry, I smacked my microphone. You've got... God damn it. It's my name, too. Frederiksen had hoped for a vote of confidence in her handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and in her steady leadership in the face of high energy prices, rampant inflation, and mounting insecurity full of... Fold? That could be some British vernacular I'm fucking up, or it might have been insecurity fueled by Russia's war on Ukraine. But it could be British vernacular that I have no clue about. My Appalachian ass is fucking it up. But the election became a battle for the center between the prime minister, who said she wanted to form a broad left-right coalition to pilot the country through tough times, and Rasmussen, who has said his aim is to create a new political situation. Solidarity. Yeah, Warlord, you're not impressed by Denmark. You want to head over to where the sparks are flying. Are you guys ready for the possible return of Bibi Netanyahu? Netanyahu is in the lead according to exit polls. This was an hour ago on the BBC. Yeah, oh fuck indeed, Carpe Pax. As I pose to the Discord, which is going to be the biggest political comeback of the year, is it going to be Bojo being prime minister again here in a few weeks in the UK? Or is it going to be Bibi Netanyahu once again piloting the ship that is Israel? No one expects the Israel election. It has been a shit show for a while. I have wondered how they've even been able to keep a coalition together, which they haven't, and that's why there's been so many elections. Former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is on course for victory in Tuesday's elections, according to exit polls. The polls, which forecast the outcome before official results, give his right-wing bloc a slim majority of seats over his opponents. Such a result would mark a dramatic comeback for Mr. Netanyahu, toppled last year after 12 straight years in power. The election was widely seen as a vote for or against Mr. Netanyahu's return. Official results, which could still produce a different outcome, are expected in the coming hours. So, Warlord, if you can, keep an eye on that and let me know if there are any updates. Because this was about an hour ago on BBC that we're reading from. That was the last update on this story. As the polls were announced at... They're giving it to me in Greenwich Mean Time, as well as giving it to me in the 24-hour format. 2,200 hours. I guess that's Israeli time, and 20 hours Greenwich Mean Time, which is... Fuck if I know. Okay, Greenwich Mean Time, we're about 5 hours. 15... About 3 o'clock. About 3 o'clock Eastern. No, 5 o'clock Eastern. If it was 10 p.m. UK, it was 5 o'clock Eastern. And everybody in the chat came up with a different answer too. Oh, and they switch time a week early. So I was going by it being a 5-hour time difference. God damn. So it's a 4-hour time difference. Also, we used to switch before Halloween. Since we'll come back to BB here because this is a very important story we're talking about. But I got a rant to talk about. We used to switch time here in the US before Halloween. And because of that, the kids trick-or-treated during the dark. You know, it was dark when the kids were trick. Now I see people's pictures of their kids out trick-or-treating, and it's daylight outside. It's not the bewitching time. You know, when I was a kid, it would be dusk. Like the sun would have set, it's still a little light and everything, and that's when that would be at like 6 o'clock. That's when you'd start trick-or-treating or whatever. Halloween has been ruined. Well, as I said, like it would be like, you know, right at dusk. The low light capability of their phones. No, like it's still light outside at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. It sucks. Yeah, we would wait for the sun to go down, and then the kids would go out trick-or-treating. Just more of the wussification of America, which, by the way, I don't believe in. If anybody's new, I'm not your anti-woke cancel call. I think all that's nonsense. All the crime does come out at night. That's true. I'm again it. I think the time should change before Halloween like it used to. Because I remember this vividly as a kid. That I'm like, how are we going to trick or treat? It's still light outside. And then like the time would change the weekend before. And like, oh, now it's dark. Perfect. And I mean, there's a argument to be made, I guess, for the kids to be able to go out while it is still a little bit light outside. But I don't know. I think it takes away from the fun. Half-hour time zones. I find this out every year at 420. We've got some fucked up time zones in this country. Every year at 420, I find this out because we do 420 across the country. And when we get out there into the ocean, there's some fucked up time zones. It changed for capitalism, which I would still think, and I'm a proponent of not doing time change. I think permanent daylight savings time. I think we should stay with daylight savings time. That's just me. Yeah, the lines out in the Pacific Ocean, they are fucked up. And I find that out every year at 420. And there's a couple of like cities that don't change time with their state. Usually, if I'm going to debut a new look for the graphics, I do it at 420. Felt like it needed to happen sooner. Maybe we might get a new logo this year on 420. Oh yeah, we were talking about Israel. That's a thing, right? Let me refresh this and see if we've got an update. Nope. Still updated 1 hour ago. Israel elections. Netanyahu is in the lead, exit polls say. The polls, which forecast the outcome before official results, give his right-wing bloc a slim majority of seats over his opponent. Such a result would mark a dramatic comeback for Mr. Netanyahu, toppled last year after 12 straight years in power. Just over a year of Naftali Bennett as the prime minister in Israel. As the polls were announced at that's where we stopped there talking about time zones. As the polls were announced between 5 and 8 p.m. Eastern, upbeat music burst from the loudspeakers at the central venue of Mr. Netanyahu's Likud party in Jerusalem. It's a good start, said Mr. Netanyahu in a video broadcast by Israel's Khan 11 channel. Mr. Netanyahu, 73, is one of Israel's most controversial political figures, loathed by many on the center and the left, but adored by Likud's grassroots supporters. He is a firm supporter of Israel's settlement building project in the West Bank, occupied since the 1967 Middle East War. Settlements there are considered illegal under international law, though Israel disputes this. He opposes the creation of a Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza Strip as a solution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict, a formula supported by most of the international community, including the Biden administration. Mr. Netanyahu is also currently on trial for alleged bribery, fraud, and breach of trust, charges he fiercely denies. His possible partners in the Likud-led coalition government have said they would reform the law in a move which would bring a halt to his trial. Literally advertising that they will change the law to protect him. Israel TV exit polls suggest Mr. Netanyahu's bloc will command 61 or 62 seats in the 120-seat Knesset parliament. And I think I always fuck up the pronunciation of that. I've looked it up like 3 times on this show. It looks like we can be optimistic and have some hope we are about to get a stable coalition with BB. Oh, the Kesnet. Kesnet? Kesnet. Gonna have to do it again. I'm gonna have to do it again. But it's fun. We learn shit. We learn shit on this show. Knesset. Carpe, thank you for the and Mox, the attempted phonetical spelling for me. But sometimes we just have to go hear it ourselves. And as somebody who has been on the radio for over 20 years, that's a thing I'm used to doing, is going and getting the audio pronunciation. Sometimes I do ask the chat for the phonetical pronunciation if I think it could be easy and save me from having to go and Google something. Just for time's sake. According to the polls, Lucan stands to be the biggest party with 30 or 31 seats, commanding a majority of the support of nationalist and religious parties. Yeah, once again, I'm gonna have to get used to my drops being in a different place here. This comes as a new Palestinian movement has emerged. The Lion's Den, a new Palestinian resistance group, has emerged. Here's what that says about the state of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We're reading from Vox now. As Israel headed to the polls for its 5th election since 2019, Israel forces have spent the last month putting Palestinian cities in the occupied West Bank under siege. Early October, the city of Nablus has been choked off by Israeli settlers. Nablus and the refugee camp of Jenin, both in the West Bank, have been the site of Israeli security raids. Clampdown of Nablus, which I don't know if I'm saying correctly, comes in the response to the emergence of the Lion's Den, a Palestinian militant group that shot dead an Israeli soldier at a checkpoint outside the city in early October. Lion's Den has been using armed resistance against Israeli security forces in the occupied West Bank. Unlike Hamas or Islamic Jihad, they are not a religious or ideological faction. They're not affiliated with any party. Lion's Den is specifically resisting the presence of Israeli security forces or settler violence to defend Palestinian cities. The change here is that they have been using arms as a defensive mechanism when there are raids by Israelis. According to a researcher at Carnegie Middle East Center, talking about an oppressed people choosing to resist the occupation, which all you Twitter people with your Ukrainian flags, maybe you'll consider supporting a group like this. You know, kind of the same thing. Meanwhile, Israelis today voted for a new parliament after the collapse of a short-lived change government. Initial polls suggest a narrow lead by former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party. This will be a more coherent government that can institute policy more effectively, and extreme right pro-settler members of his coalition are likely to push for an even harsher crackdown on Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. The violence has increased. More than 125 Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem already this year, United Nations official, and this includes nurses, doctors, journalists. Journalists that were intentionally targeted. A United Nations official says that this is the most lethal year for Palestinians since 2005. There's also rising violence against Israelis, according to the UN, with 2 Israeli security personnel and 25 civilians killed so far this year. Always disproportionate one way. Israel has responded with violent raids in Nablus and other West Bank cities, widespread crackdowns, and what human rights groups allege to be the revival of targeted assassinations in the West Bank. We've covered way too much violence coming out of Israel this year. It breaks my fucking heart. And we had a Zionist in the Discord. Still have a Zionist in the Discord. I had to put his ass in his place. Let's move from elections internationally to elections here in the U.S. Fortunately, judges have ruled that a group can monitor Arizona ballot drop box. Oh, I'm sorry, a U.S. judge has ruled. Federal judge on Friday refused to bar a group from monitoring outdoor ballot boxes in Arizona's largest county, where watchers have shown up armed and in ballistic vests, saying to do so could violate the monitor's constitutional rights. God comment, good evening. U.S. District Court Judge Michael Liberty said the case remained open and that the Arizona Alliance for Retired Americans could try again to make its argument against a group calling itself Clean Elections USA. A second plaintiff, Voto Latino, was removed from the case. That don't sound fishy at all. Liberty concluded that while this case certainly presents serious questions, the court cannot craft an injunction without violating the First Amendment. The judge is a Trump appointee and a member of the Federalist Society. Constant theme here in the U.S. Local and federal law enforcement have been alarmed by reports of people, including some who were masked and armed, watching 24-hour ballot boxes in Maricopa County, Arizona's most populous county, and rural Yavapai County, as midterm elections near. Some voters have complained, alleging voter intimidation after people watching the boxes took photos and videos and followed the voters, which sounds totally illegal. Arizona law states electioneers and monitors must remain at 75 feet, 23 meters, warlord, from a voting location. Ida, good evening. Plaintiffs have not provided the court with any evidence the defendant's conduct constitutes a true threat, the judge wrote. On this record, defendants have not made any statements threatening to commit acts of unlawful violence to a particular individual or group of individuals. The Arizona Alliance for Retired Americans said it was disappointed. I'm disappointed for them. It sounds illegal as fuck. Yes, reactionary judges in Arizona. Who'd have thunk it? Move over to CNN. We're going to talk about the Arizona candidate for governor. Don Lemon mocked Kari Lake, who deserves to be mocked, but unfortunately could very well be Arizona's next governor. She is batshit crazy.
And as Josh was just noting, there are people who are mocking this, despite the serious nature of these charges and the details that we're learning about this. One of those is the Republican candidate for governor in Arizona, Kari Lake, who last night saw this as a laughing matter, essentially.
It is not impossible to protect our kids at school. They act like it is. Nancy Pelosi, well, she's got protection when she's in D.C. Apparently her house doesn't have a lot of protection. But
you see the moderator there laughing as well, covering his face. Joining us now to discuss this is CNN correspondent Audie Cornish. Audie, thanks for joining us on our first morning.
Good morning, good morning.
And as Josh was just noting, there are people who are mocking this.
Well, we didn't get the full clip,
and
but we got enough of it. It's using this fucking MSN, but I used it because it was a clip on Mediaite. Mediaite always fucks up. But we got what we needed out of the clip. Remember the Libertarian candidate for Senate? We watched the Senate debate between Masters, Mark Kelly, Blake Masters, the Republican nominee for Senate in Arizona, Mark Kelly, the Democratic incumbent, and then Mark Victor was the Libertarian candidate. He was at the debate with the two of them. Mark Victor has now dropped out and has endorsed Blake Masters. Libertarian U.S. Senate candidate Mark Victor said Tuesday he was ending his campaign and asking his supporters to back Republican Blake Masters in a move that could nudge a narrow slice of voters in a race already expected to be close. I don't know what he was polling at, but usually libertarians are about 2-3%. Some states it's under 1%. So I don't know exactly what his margin was. Ray, good evening. Victor, an attorney whose campaign to oust Senator Mark Kelly was always a long shot, held a one-on-one conversation with Masters on Monday that convinced him the best option for people who share his outlook this year is Masters. Do we have to ask Masters about the age of consent? Because this is the motherfucker that actually pulled that shit out at the debate. Hold on, do I still have that clip? Do I still have this clip? I'm not seeing it. I totally mocked him that he pulled out like reasonable people can disagree on the age of consent. I'm like, God damn, libertarians every fucking time. You can always count on a libertarian to be a libertarian. To make a lot of sense with a lot of things and then just let you down totally. Let you down totally with bullshit. Let's see. Okay, here. We're gonna have to catch the ads on Twitch. I always take a little commercial break. If you're a subscriber, you just see my funny little ads for my bullshit, like the freaking news, which you should totally go watch. But we try to play all the Twitch ads at once so nobody misses any content. When we come back, we're going to talk about a Michigan GOP candidate who said the elites drink blood and sell baby body parts because of course she did. Because of course she did. Dr. Oz has asked a surgeon to downplay his puppy murder. Wisconsin GOP appointees to a tech school board have refused to resign despite the fact that their terms are up. We're going to show you multiple clips of Fox News getting triggered, as the kids say. Fox got triggered about The View. Fox got triggered about cats. Speaking of cats, I got a kitty to show you guys. Instead of an animal video tonight, you get to see a 5-week-old kitty that is in this house. Meet Trixie later. A congressman in Georgia used donor funds to fight a subpoena. The Supreme Court has refused to block Lindsey Graham from having to testify in the Georgia investigation into election interference. We got video of the Parkland judge going off on one of the defense attorneys. Multiple stories that we're going to try to get updates on. There were cops shot in New York, and I'm sorry, not New York, Newark, New Jersey. And there's a manhunt underway. We might even get some live video on that. There was a shooting in Denver, and I don't believe they have a suspect in custody there, or they hadn't as of the time that we were coming on the air. So we will try to get updates on both of those stories. Because, you know, we got some spam in the chat. It's just another day in mass shooting USA. All that and more on the other side of the break here on the Troll Patrol Live. Gwyneth Paltrow is one of the biggest stars on Earth. An actress, a singer, an author, an entrepreneur. She is an Academy Award winner and owner of a successful lifestyle brand, albeit with a questionable name. Why then is she stealing her ideas from a barely known comedian from Appalachia? Earlier this year, Paltrow launched her This Candle Smells Like My Vagina product under her Goop brand. There's just one little issue, Miss Paltrow. I came up with the idea for pussy candles back in 2013. It's from my stand-up comedy routine, Pussy in the Morning, where I coined the concept of a vagina-scented perfume I called Eau de Toit. The next line in that routine goes a little something like this.
And that inspired me to create a scented candle, which also looks like a vagina and smells like a turned-on vagina. So you burn it, you get the smell of vagina, and then after it's finished, it looks like a freshly fucked pussy, all floppy and sloppy.
So, since Miss Paltrow is clearly infringing on an idea I had that long predates her product, I would like a cut of that $75 she's charging for her ripped-off cunt candle. Please donate to my legal fund by visiting my Patreon. Show this bougie liberal elitist that she can't steal her ideas from the hardworking people of America's heartland. And I will use the money from that settlement to bring affordable pussy-scented candles to market. Available to all the masses, not just Elton John. Elton John? Why does he like the smell of pussy? I made it back just in time because I was playing with the kitten. The kitten was all over the place. It was zoom, zoom, zoom. Barely made it back in time because I was totally watching the kitten. I always give you a new meme when we come back from commercial break. November 1st mood. Bye, ghosts. I love you. RB getting all rude over here with the spam bot. Telling the spam bot to shove things up its ass.
You live in sexual anarchy?
I got a Maynard in here. I don't even... Did I put the Maynard drop on here? Yeah. What you doing, Maynard? You guys want to see Maynard? He doesn't make that many appearances anymore. We got a Maynard. He was eating. He got very upset that I stopped him from eating. Why? Like, I still know Elton John. Why does Elton John like the smell of pussy? Maybe there's more to Elton John than I'm aware of. I don't know. I'm sure he's multifaceted. Elton John could be one of those people. Maybe he's not just gay. Maybe he's one of those people that like transcend sexuality. Very fluid. And I'm not judging. I'm not judging at all. I'm definitely not the one to judge on that one. Oh yeah, your meme. And because I haven't broke it out yet, I just want to make sure everyone is aware that I do still have it. I'd give anything in the world to piss in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. Give me that eye pussy, sir. New look, same great troll taste. I'm gonna miss having like a canvas to, you know, put shit on, but like I think I'll change the video in the back. Like, you know, you got the liquid fucking shit in the background. I'll change that for Christmas. It'll be like a fireplace or something, maybe. I'll put a Santa hat on the troll. Does woke moralists still work?
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Yeah, I think they look better on this too. I think all the drops look better. If I want to grow at this game, I got to play to my strengths, and my strengths are the fact that like I do motion graphics and shit. Ha ha ha. And also, I have the newsman voice going on. GOP candidate said the elites drink blood, sell baby body parts after abortion. Now, I tried my best just to find the clip of her saying that the entire interview, the entire hour-long interview, is up in this article. I tried to find just the clip of her saying that. And I couldn't, because she has so many fucking clips of her saying stupid shit. There's a ton of money involved in freshly harvested organs. There's so much evidence out there. And you might have been shocked when I scrolled down and found out she ain't white. Christina Caramo, the Trump-backed GOP candidate for Michigan Secretary of State, which is the position that oversees elections, once expressed support for the 2020 QAnon outlandish conspiracy that the elites drink the blood of children and sell baby body parts after abortions. Vice News obtained an audio recording of Caramo's appearance on a QAnon podcast called Red Pill News just weeks after the 2020 election, where she said that abortion is child sacrifice and boosted false claims that the rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021 were Antifa, posing as Trump supporters. If you go to the Satanic Temple website, they have an entire 5-minute video explaining why abortion is a religious ritual. So that's somewhat true, but that is only so the Satanic Temple, which is not a good organization, by the way. The Satanic Temple is kind of fashy. Just throwing that out there. And they're very litigious. And I mean, they come after groups on the left. Litigious. Very much so. But what the Satanic Temple is doing is making plans to challenge abortion laws based on the religious exception. Yes, they do suck. They do suck. But they do some based shit. And this is one of them. They literally say that it is a sacrifice. They might possibly literally say that, but once again, they're coming at it from, this is a legal challenge we're going to wage in court under the idea of religious freedom. It is a religious ritual for them to have an abortion. It is sick, and as you mentioned, the baby body parts. They sell the organs. There's tons of money involved in freshly harvested organs. There's so much evidence out there. Caramo became a minor star in the GOP after she claimed to have witnessed voter fraud during the 2020 election while acting as a poll challenger in Detroit. Her affidavit was used as part of a lawsuit brought by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and challenged the election results in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The reptiles are here. The lawsuit was thrown out by the Supreme Court in December of 2020, but Caramo continued to rise within the GOP, and in October of 2021, she was unveiled as one of the founding members of the America First Coalition of Secretary of State candidates organized by Jim Merchant, a Nevada Secretary of State candidate who recently told attendees at a Trump rally that he would fix the election to put Trump back in the White House. However, Caramo told Bridge, Michigan this month that is not her plan. That's not how the democratic process should go, she said, before adding that she's walking into it with my eyes wide open. And though Caramo had strongly denied she supported QAnon conspiracy theories after she appeared on stage at a recent QAnon conference in Las Vegas, and denied her affiliation with QAnon when she joined the America First Coalition. One of the main figures behind the coalition is Wayne Willett, a well-known QAnon influencer known to his fans as Juan O. Savin. We do have the... This is a video that she posted to her website and apparently deleted. Let's see what this shit is.
Everybody, it's Christina Karama with another video for you all today. Hope all is well. It's 4th of July week here, and for many Americans, we are feeling very patriotic. So as you guys know, my videos are a mixture of culture, really is my focus, and Christian apologetics, specifically pertaining to culture and politics.
Oh my God, apologetics.
Experience in our world around us. So with that being said, and it being 4th of July week, one of the things I want to point to is how Christian apologetics or the Christian faith is validated through the American experience. So there's always a lot of people around 4th of July who are like, America is a terrible country. I hate this country. Well, the first thing you need to remember is you can leave. You do.
So the first thing you need to know is that you are doing what is called straw manning. I don't think people say that, oh, America's a terrible country. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Well, the first thing I want to point out is that you need to replace the battery in your fire alarm, ma'am. It's hard to watch a video of you being an influencer when you need a new battery in your fire alarm and it's beeping every, I don't know, 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Hear a little more.
Do not have to stay here, so goodbye. The other thing I want to mention is a lot of people like to point to past atrocities that have been committed in America as proof that it's a horrible, horrible country. If you're going to say that, then you must concede that every country on planet Earth is an evil and horrible place, so then you have nowhere to go.
I do, kinda.
Every country on planet Earth has committed some type of evil. Why? Because humans are fallen. I'm going to point to a quote by...
Because humans are fallen.
And it says, the moral principles and precepts contained in the scriptures ought to form the basis of all civil constitutions and laws. All the miseries and evils which men suffer.
Anybody else singing Alicia Keys in their head?
Injustice,
slavery, I can't sing it. I can't sing that fucking song.
Or neglecting the precepts contained in the Bible. So God gives.
So this is the Secretary of State candidate in Michigan who is likely to win. Oh God. In the same video, she said, I know a lot of people who criticize people who are struggling with same-sex attraction, you fornicating, so you're doing your awful engagement, sexual sin. It's all bad. That's basically her saying that you live in sexual anarchy. There, I found it.
You live in sexual anarchy?
It was her audio. Her audio was shit, RB. I was having to go put gain on her. My apologies. Is the music at the right level? Because I'm not listening to the show feed, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know until after I go back and listen to the recording. And it is a new setup, so I don't know. Do I need to turn the bumper music down? Mock says she has 0 chance. Fucking A. Love it. I do. Whitmer is up in the polls, so perhaps the Democrats aren't shit out of luck in Michigan. I'm still a little worried that we're going to come out with about 4 decimals louder than usual. Fair enough. I mean, how? Like, I can't ask for more precise feedback than that. There's your 4 decimals. There is your 4 decimals. I got Maynard over here yakking. What do you want, buddy? But also, like, that woman's audio was just shit. Like, I was having to go put gain on it, and then, like, if I adjust the slider, it takes the gain off automatically, and that's what had, like, she started yelling, and I adjust the slider to compensate, and it took the gain off. Had to go back, put the gain on it again. Evil shit audio, and she had a fucking fire alarm that needed the battery replaced in the background. So hopefully she will not be the Secretary of State in Michigan come next Tuesday. We are getting down to it. We're less than a week away from election days. We're less than a week away from polls closing across the country. One of the major races we will be watching next week, control of the Senate rests in just a few races. We're talking Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Georgia, Ohio, but Georgia. We are getting ready to hear from, I believe this is the second woman that accused Herschel Walker of paying for an abortion, and I believe this is the woman that accused him of forcing her to have an abortion. She is now no longer anonymous and is coming forward. She believes this strongly, that she needs to step on camera and tell her story. So here you go.
It also marks 1 week until Election Day. The balance of power in Congress at stake here, and one crucial race that could tip that for U.S. Senate in Georgia is Republican nominee and former Cowboys player Herschel Walker at the center of a scandal over his views on abortion. This midday, a second woman now speaking out, accusing him of pressuring her to have an abortion. Juju Chang reports.
I've kept this to myself for 30 years. I protected him, and I wanted this to remain private for obvious reasons.
Last week, a second woman, her face and name withheld, accused Republican Senate candidate and former football star Herschel Walker of pressuring her to get an abortion. Walker denouncing her claims as foolishness and lies.
I said that's a lie, and I've moved on, and they want me to play these guessing games and all this, but I'm not. I'm not into that. I'm into winning this great seat, fight for the great people of Georgia, because that's what this is about.
Now Jane Doe responds. At her request, we agreed not to use her name, calling her Jane Doe instead. But she says she now wants to show her face.
And so what makes you want to speak about it now?
When I saw the first woman come forward a few weeks ago, he immediately called her a liar and said, I never signed anything with the letter H. And I knew I had many cards from him where he signed the letter H.
Of course.
And so I believed then that she was telling the truth.
Jane Doe showed us some cards and letters she says she received from Herschel Walker, some signed with a flourish, that H. She says she took this photo of Walker asleep. They had met, she says, in the late 80s when he was married to his first wife, and she says had an affair that lasted 6 years.
We saw each other several times a week, usually in the mornings, and we saw each other before games, home games, away games, that kind of thing.
Jane Doe shared hotel receipts from that era, and a voicemail she says is from Walker after he went to the Olympic Games in 1992.
He often told me in writing, and every time we had a conversation, how much he loved me and how much I meant to him, and that I was who he wanted to be with.
Jane Doe says despite being on birth control,
He says that to all the ladies, doesn't he?
Walker, she says, pressured her to get the abortion.
He was very clear that he did not want me to have the child. And he said that because of his wife's family and powerful people around him, that I would not be safe and that the child would not be safe.
That's very menacing.
It is very menacing.
Very menacing.
It is very menacing. And I felt threatened, and I thought I had no choice.
She says at first she went to an abortion clinic but couldn't go through with it. But Walker, she says, talked her into going back with him.
He came to my house and picked me up and drove me to the clinic. And I went in alone, and he waited in the car while I went in and had the procedure.
She says Walker gave her cash to pay for the abortion and has no records or receipts of the payment or the procedure. She says after the abortion, everything...
Well, I mean, at least he paid for it. If we could say one good thing about him, he paid for it.
Changed.
Everything shifted. He distanced himself from me almost immediately.
Jane Doe says she left her life in Dallas within days and never moved back. Over the years, she says Walker reached out occasionally.
I told my parents that I had miscarriage because I couldn't tell them the truth. Yeah, and I told a few friends the same thing because I couldn't tell them the truth.
Why in your mind did you feel like you couldn't tell them the truth?
It just was very shameful. And I felt like I had been manipulated.
We spoke to two women identified to us as friends of the accuser by her lawyer, Gloria Allred. They each told us Jane Doe confided in them in the 90s that she got pregnant during a years-long affair with Walker. One woman saying she took this photo of Jane Doe and Walker meeting at a conference in 2019, years after their alleged affair. Her friend describing how she says they greeted each other.
He embraced her, and that embrace, it was very emotional. It lasted longer than a normal embrace. It was like they'd known each other for years and years and years, which I'd known they had.
But Jane Doe says her feelings changed after she saw Walker deny that he'd ever paid for an abortion. That, says her lawyer, is when she decided to come forward.
Herschel Walker looked the American people in the eye after she spoke out last week and said it was a lie. Both women were liars. And she's now looking the American people in the eye, and she's telling her truth.
And what makes you think he's not fit to be a U.S. Senator?
I think honesty matters.
Now, it's worth noting that Jane Doe is a registered independent, and she told us she voted for Donald Trump twice. She says she's not motivated by politics, but by what she says matters more, the truth. Now, Herschel Walker's campaign told us to refer to previous statements in which he said, "This is a lie. I've moved on. They want me to play these guessing games, but I'm not."
Once again, the campaign knew about the accusations and took a bet that they wouldn't come out. And also, his campaign has been very... leakers from the campaign have said that he is a pathological liar, that they can't count on him to do what they tell him to do. That they can't count on him to tell them the truth. So he would be an unmitigated disaster if elected as senator to these great United States. Just like it would be a disaster if Dr. Oz was elected senator to these great United States. Dr. Motmet Oz, who said that his opponent, John Fetterman, was kicking authority in the balls and made me like him that much more.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
You didn't have to sell me on him. You didn't have to sell me on him. Looks like the internet dropped out. Well, thank you. Thank you. It was literally OBS. OBS dropped an update and it made me hop off and do the update. I couldn't connect anything. Did the update? Works fine. I'll have to pack another bong or bowl over here. Don't think I got any in the bong. I think I already killed this one off. I try to have, fun sounding, engaging. Like I spent a lot of time listening to no copyright music, trying to decide what best fit the mood and theme of the Troll Patrol. The Friday Night Freak Show has chill wave music, and I like the different aesthetics to the two shows. I think I've done a good job, not to jack myself off or anything. But I mean, I should. Clinically, thank you. Anyway, nobody missed out on anything. I never even started the next story. We like, it happened perfectly, at least. If I was gonna get chopped off, it happened right after we wrapped up Herschel Walker and right as I was introing the Dr. Oz story. What am I lying about? I cannot tell a lie, or whatever fucking Abraham Lincoln supposedly said. I guess since I came back, I gotta give you a new meme, right? I keep drinking those sodas because they're so good. But, they make me burp. Oh shit, wrong one. Here's your meme. Yeah, chopped off sounds painful. Some people are into it. When people are trying to get you to participate in No Nut November, but you don't get down like that. I love busting nuts. It's good for you. So I've just realized that my logo is going to block bottom text on memes. That could be an issue, or I could not care about it. Maybe we even do away with memes of the day now that, I don't just need to have something up on screen while I bullshit. Oh my God, Maynard is bitching at me to let him out. I mean, it's the first day of No Nut November, and we've already got 2 shooters that are on the loose, one in Denver and one in New Jersey. We're going to be talking about that here in a little bit. Speaking of shooters, we're going to go to the Parkland shooter, the sentencing trial that has been going on. We were at the final phase. Apparently, the judge got really pissed off at the defense attorneys today. I think the judge has been a little harsh. That's just me. I thought the judge in the Darrell Brooks case was incredibly fair when she didn't have to be. Because Korean streams exist. Well, and then you've got, people like Amaranth and shit on here. I'm sure it's kind of hard to do a No Nut November with that going on. Well, shall we pick up where we left off before we were so rudely interrupted? I can't believe this is a sentence I'm uttering. Dr. Oz asked his surgeon friend to downplay his role in Poppy murder. A cardiothoracic surgeon who helped propel Dr. Mahmet Oz, who is currently running for Pennsylvania's open Senate seat, to stardom, said he refused to say publicly that his former colleague had no hand in experiments that allegedly killed more than 300 dogs, claiming he viewed it as the candidate asking for a political favor. Dr. Eric Rose was the chief of cardiac surgery at Columbia University's medical program and was Dr. Oz's superior during the research he conducted in 2003 that led to the USDA finding the university in violation of the Animal Welfare Act. My God. The surgeon spoke to the Washington Post and revealed that approximately 3 weeks ago, Dr. Oz contacted him after years of not speaking and asked him to publicly exonerate him for the alleged inhumane treatment of the puppies used in the experiments. This story, I'm amazed, didn't get more traction, by the way. Dr. Rose said his relationship with Dr. Oz soured approximately 3 years ago after having been close for decades. He told the paper he opposes Dr. Oz's political views and has donated $165 to his opponent, John Fetterman. Clearly a man who wants to kick authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
Guy comment, I am so sorry that you have had a shitty day. I'm sorry that you walked in on a story about Dr. Oz trying to downplay his role in puppy murder. Not only that, not only was that sketchy as fuck. His medical research was once rejected due to the strength of data. A study Oz authored was reportedly scheduled to lead a session at a thoracic surgery conference before it was withdrawn, and Oz was banned from presenting to the organization for 2 years. Dr. Oz was reportedly banned from presenting to a medical organization for 2 years beginning in 2003 after a medical study he authored was called into question due to the strength of the data used. The Washington Post reports that a study Oz authored on heart bypass surgery was scheduled to lead off a session of the 83rd Annual American Association for Thoracic Surgery conference before the study was ultimately withdrawn and Oz was temporarily banned from presenting to the organization. Shapiro is way up in the polls right now. It appears Shapiro is going to run away with it. Doug Mastriano, fucking nuts. Doug Mastriano is fucking nuts. That hasn't stopped candidates in other places. We're going to go to Wisconsin now, where a group appointed to a technical school board, after their terms expired, more than a year after their terms have expired, they still refuse to resign. With Wisconsin Supreme Court approval, coordinated norm breaking across state boards allows members appointed under Republican administrations to hold control of some and possibly take control of others sooner than usual. So we're reading from the Badger Report. The Badger Project. I can't speak to the validity of this site, but this is a local news source in Wisconsin. 3 members of the 13-seat Wisconsin Technical College System Board continue to serve in those positions despite their terms ending in May of 2021. The trio, Becky Levzov, Kelly Trudott, and Mary Williams, a former Republican state legislator, were all appointed by former Governor Scott Walker. In June, the right-leaning majority of the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that a Walker-appointed member of the state's Department of Natural Resources Board, Fred Fern, who had also refused to resign despite his term expiring, could not be removed by Democratic Governor Tony Evers without cause. That court decision opened the door for the 3 members of the Technical College Board to remain indefinitely past the ends of their terms. Technically, it's illegal because the judges say it's so. Reached by phone and asked why she was staying on the board when her term ended, Williams had the following to say. I think it's a rule, she said in the short interview before ending it to take another call. You stay, and as soon as the Senate takes up that person and they go through what they have to do, that's when I'm gone. What the fuck does that even mean? Levzrov, a dairy farmer from Rio, and Trudott, a construction trade associate executive from Wanakee, did not return several messages seeking comment. Regardless of what happens in the Republican-controlled state Senate, board members with expired terms could step down at any time, but the state Supreme Court decision severely restricts the governor's ability to force them out. Since Evers became governor in 2019, the state Senate has refused to confirm many of his appointees, including for the DNR board and the Technical College Board. Evers' appointees would replace the Republican-appointed member who now refuses to depart the boards despite their term ending. Democracy is in shambles across this country, if we ever had it. What semblance of democracy we had is in shambles across the country. And while that's going on, meanwhile, Fox is upset about cats. Yeah, you heard me right. You heard me right. Fox is upset about college students wanting to take cats to college. Buffering on me here. Here we go. Here we go.
Of how we are raising snowflakes. Because, I mean, if you honestly can't make it in college, then just drop out. I mean, well, although I know a lot of people want to take advantage of the freebies, but just drop out anyway. Do us all a favor. I don't think animal rights activists would be too proud of this either. I wouldn't want any college student manhandling my cat.
But Kaylee, I don't think these kids need cats. I think they need discipline. I think they need a slap in the face. Because these are the same kids that get a professor fired for being too hard on their way to medical school. These are kids that
we're going to see a professor get fired here later.
Viewpoint. They shout out speakers. They chase them off campus. But a cat will make everything better. Guess what? That doesn't work in the real world.
Yeah, you're talking about my professor that I love so much back at NYU. Yeah. Yes. Okay. No, I remember on one of my campuses getting a note that there would be dogs and puppies for us to soothe us during exam time. And I thought, is this real? I mean, no. What a
I do want to point out that suicide rates among college freshmen especially are incredibly high. That it's really hard to adjust on a college campus, especially if you've gone away from home. Maybe you need to get away from home. You had an abusive situation at home, and then you go to college and you feel alone and it's overwhelming. Those things happen. So a college taking steps to curb suicide rates seems like a perfectly reasonable idea to me. Exactly, War Machine. What do these talking heads, these privileged assholes, know about real life?
distraction for kids who don't want to study. Number one. Number two, I don't need to be coddling a puppy. I need my, organic chemistry book if I'm, in pre-med here. This is insanity. Give me a cup of coffee, a cookie, and a
It's
stack of
insanity that
books,
you
and
folks
I'm
are talking
set.
about
I don't
this.
need a
This
puppy
is
in my lap to study for exams.
This is an issue on a supposed news show. That's what's insanity about this.
That's right.
My God. These people are crazy. Batshit fucking crazy. Right-wingers are morons. Don't worry, I got more. I got more of Fox getting triggered, but first you gotta watch the thing that got triggered about. The View did a segment about Halloween costumes because, it's the day after Halloween, or maybe it was on Halloween yesterday they did this clip and Fox got pissed off. I don't know when exactly this happened. But this was The View talking about Halloween costumes. Mad about cats in dorm rooms, yes.
Horror stories and shocking moments. So here to show off costumes inspired by this year's hottest topics is our wardrobe supervisor, Ashley Alderfer Kaufman.
Say that 5 times fast.
I cannot believe, one, you had a baby a month ago, and two, Ashley, tell us about your costume.
Well, before we get to me, let's talk about all of you and your wardrobe changes. You look fabulous.
Sounds normal to do a Halloween costume segment. I did one last night with animals and costumes.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Okay, so Ashley, let's get to some of these hot topic costumes for kids.
Okay, so one of the hugest topics that you guys talked about this year, the raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago.
Yes. Now you see what Fox was upset about.
With our FBI.
Drake, I hope you mean The View and not my show. And The View making you want to read a book is totally understandable.
Agents. Oh, I love that. So our
No, it's going to be funny watching Fox News react to this.
A love of a beloved icon. You hear that music? What does that mean? It means
Do you want to watch the rest of this, or do you want to go ahead and watch Fox get upset? Scott, or I'm sorry, Toads, good evening. Also, Sky Comet. Good evening to you.
Do you guys think we should bring Choco back? Yeah! All right, so Choco for hire.
How much did Taco Bell pay for this?
So cute. So Choco Taco may not be available in the supermarket, but this guy certainly is. Remember
They're playing the Sunny music. They're playing the Sunny music. All right, here you go. You saw the Trump costume. That's what Fox News is going to react to here in this segment.
1 week away. And the host, oh boy, they were eating it up.
one of the hugest topics that you guys talked about this year, the raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
Yes.
What was I thinking? I didn't have to show it to you guys. Fox showed it again.
So we have Trump as a toilet with our FBI agents. Here we have our Dr. Oz and his crew today.
Oh, I guess we should have stuck around for Dr. Oz.
Broccoli and the salsa and guacamole and asparagus.
He's got his crew today.
Critics lashing out, calling the spectacle insane and deranged. Joe, what say you?
Not high enough for this
is
shit,
Trump
indeed.
derangement syndrome times 10. I mean, it's sick, actually. I mean, I have a first and a third grader that did their Halloween parade yesterday, and I didn't see any dressed up as FBI agents. Using these little kids like they're props to make a political statement and somehow thinking this is funny. And ABC continues to keep this.
I saw several right-wing figureheads promoting costumes with like Joe Biden on a bicycle and shit. Did you see the Donald Trump Jr.? Ah, shit. It skipped ahead on me there. Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out the Halloween costume with like underwear and a hammer, alluding to the Paul Pelosi attack.
Using these little kids like they're props to make a political statement and somehow thinking this is funny. And ABC continues to keep this train wreck of a show under its news division. You can see why Meghan McCain left and has almost nothing good to say about her experience there. It's not just political debate.
Well, nobody likes Meghan McCain.
It's a hate fest, and it's a boring one that I would think it's become the one thing that Barbara Walters didn't want this show to become.
Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary folk in the audience, he just said that The View was a hate fest. A Fox News commentator said The View was a hate fest.
Unpredictable, right? It's become predictable, and it's co-hosted by some of the most unlikable people on the planet. So congratulations to you, another black guy.
I was thinking 2 years ago, if a couple of kids had dressed up as members of law enforcement, oh my word, their heads would have exploded.
Wait, does she think kids don't dress up as cops? I would say that is one of the top outfits that kids dress as. I was a cop one year. I'm almost certain I might have been a cop multiple years. Yeah, kids always. This woman on Fox News just said kids don't dress up like cops. Like, if a kid was to dress like a cop, their heads would explode. Exactly. These people. I gotta give you a content warning. This is what you guys have told me in the past that I am supposed to give you a content warning anytime this guy pops up on screen. So, fair enough. Content warning. Senator Ted Cruz calls out Trump for not opening up his war chest to support Republicans in tight races. Because, you know, as if Donald Trump is going to give money to other people.
Republican Senate candidates is Mitch McConnell's super PAC. Mitch puts all of his money behind moderates and incumbents, and conservatives get left alone. Conservatives get starved for resources, and Republican donors give to that super PAC knowing that that's not going to go to conservatives. And right now, I'm trying to fill that void in House races. And in House races, I'm backing conservatives because Republican leadership does the same thing. They back moderates. They don't back conservatives with anywhere near the same financial resources. And so, look, part of the reason why Arizona and New Hampshire are not getting the funding that they deserve is that both of those candidates are strongly aligned with Donald Trump. And Republican leadership doesn't like that.
He's
My
coming
view
real
is
good
I
to the
wanna
old
win and
days.
have
Yeah,
a
they did.
majority of strong conservatives. And
Wait.
I think it was-
He's not on somebody's podcast. This is actually we're watching The Verdict with Ted Cruz. This is his podcast.
A mistake not to invest more vigorously in both Arizona and New Hampshire. Joe O'Dea, who's running, I think is a good candidate. The single largest funder of Republicans.
Sorry, it's one of those MSN things again.
Like that. And so Trump, I think the next day, immediately came out blasting O'Dea and telling Republicans,
Everybody's got a podcast.
And you're just sitting there going, okay, great. So we're going to elect the Democrat who votes pretty much 100% of the time with Schumer and Biden. You know, O'Dea would not be conservative in Texas.
But in Colorado, it'd be a great pickup.
In Colorado, I want people to vote for Joe O'Dea.
Everyone
because
has a
I want Chuck
podcast.
Schumer out of power. I wish O'Dea had the judgment just not to poke the bear. Just don't piss off Trump, because the races we lose are races where there's a pissing match between the Republican candidate and Trump.
It's a self-inflicted wound almost every time when you look at this map at this point.
And do I wish Trump would exercise the restraint not to take a bat to him? Yes. But he's not going to. I will say about...
I don't understand. Okay, like, we wish Trump would shut up, but we want his money. Is that pretty much what Ted Cruz just said? Apparently, Trump's ex-girlfriend, I had to read this a few times, not ex-aide, not ex-campaign staffer, this Trump ex says Trump absolutely told her she got intelligence from her. Oh. So guys, I struggled with this headline. I put it on the list for the show just because I'm like, well, this is going to be an interesting watch. We got video. So now I get what the headline says. It finally sunk in. Remember, I'm multitasking the hour before the show. So like this headline didn't make sense to me, but now she got her intelligence from the white side of her. Now I thought this was going to be a story about her confirming that Trump took intelligence from the White House or some shit. That's what, like, when I'm just skimming over headlines to put on the list for the show. Trump's ex-girlfriend told her that she got her intelligence. Yeah, quick read it. From the white side of her family. This is Carrie Young.
Went out with Trump for a couple of years in between Marla and Melania, those two marriages, and she's never talked about that time together. She's biracial. Her mother is black. Her father's white. And she sits down with me, talk about a comment that's in the new Maggie Haberman book called Confidence Man. There's a quote in there in which Trump is quoted as saying, now he had met Kara's parents, that she gets her beauty from her mother and, quote, her intelligence from her father, the white side.
Oh, that's super racist.
I asked Kara, did he say that? She said, yep, I was standing right there when he did. She said she admonished him. She said, you can't talk like that. That's mean. And she also talks about some other situations that some point to as evidence that if Donald Trump were to decide to run for president again, some say among the many bits of baggage that he'd have to take into that contest would be the accusation that he's racist. And there are moments that Ms. Young talks about in our conversation in which she addresses that very.
I think we do have the actual video though. Here this is Maggie Haberman.
I mean, some of the big public things like birtherism was thoroughly racist, but there are other details you have. Like, I didn't know that he had a girlfriend just before Melania.
That's overlapping with her.
Yeah, overlapping with Melania.
Overlapping.
Half black. Father was white. Mother was black.
And
What did he say about her?
He met her parents and he told her that she got her beauty from her mom and her brains from her dad at the White Side.
Yeah, more book selling. That's why I thought we were going to get the actual girlfriend. We did not get her words, but there's your reporting, and I absolutely believe that. Sounds about white. Trump lawyers throw Alan Weisselberg under the bus as he prepares to spill the beans at trial. The Trump legal team has argued that the former president is the real victim in company tax fraud trial. Wow. Of course. Now, this started yesterday. Lawyers for former President Donald Trump's companies on Monday threw former longtime chief financial officer Alan Weisselberg under the bus during opening statements at a criminal trial over whether the company committed tax fraud. Weisselberg and two of Trump's companies were indicted in Manhattan last year after prosecutors said the company's compensation to Weisselberg included perks like apartments, luxury cars, and private school tuition for his grandchildren that were never reported on his taxes. Weisselberg in August pleaded guilty to 15 charges, including grand larceny, tax fraud, and falsifying business records. He agreed to serve 5 months, which is pitiful. 5 months in prison, pay $1.9 million in back taxes and penalties, and agreed to testify at the Trump Organization trial. Prosecutors on Monday detailed his offenses and vowed that Weisselberg would give jurors the inside story of how he conducted his tax scheme. This case is about greed and cheating on taxes, prosecutor Susan Hoffinger said in court. The scheme was conducted, directed, and authorized at the highest level of the accounting department. Lawyers representing two of Trump's businesses at the trial, meanwhile, threw Weisselberg under the bus and suggested that Trump may be the real victim of the scheme. Weisselberg did it for Weisselberg, said Michael Vanderveen. Michael Vanderveen. Michael Vanderveen. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make fun of the dude's name. Vanderveen. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a nice person, Vanderveen. Lindsey Graham got some bad news earlier today. The Supreme Court declined to block his subpoena, and he will have to testify in Georgia.
Have to testify. The Supreme Court has denied a stay for his testimony in front of a grand jury in Fulton County, Georgia, where the DA down there is investigating Donald Trump's alleged interference in the 2020 election. The application for the stay and an injunction pending appeal was presented to Justice Clarence Thomas. He issued a temporary stay, you remember, last week. It was referred then to the full court, which ultimately shot it down. There's no word yet from the DA on a new date for when Lindsey Graham will be asked to appear.
I can't say that. I can't repeat your comment, Mox. Amazingly enough, it violates terms of service. Staying in Georgia, Georgia congressman used donor funds to fight subpoena over subverting the election. A congressman used campaign funds in an attempt to stymie an investigation into Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Representative Jody Heiss was among the lawmakers at the White House for a December 2020 strategy meeting about subverting the results of the presidential election. According to testimony, former White House staffer Cassidy Hutchinson gave to the House January 6 committee. When Congress reconvened following the riot at the January 6, 2021, Heiss objected to counting Georgia's electoral votes, claiming without providing evidence that Joe Biden's win in the state was faulty due to an unprecedented amount of fraud and irregularities. As part of her inquiry into the former president's role in the scheme for him to remain in office, Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fannie Willis subpoenaed Heiss in June, seeking his testimony before a grand jury. The day before his deadline to appear, Heiss filed a motion to quash the subpoena. An attorney from the Austin, Texas-based law firm, the Goober Group, think it's the Gober Group or Gober Group. I'm probably saying it wrong, but we're gonna call it the Goober Group. Represented Heiss in court on July 25th. A district court judge rejected Heiss's challenge. August 1st, Heiss's campaign paid the Goober Group of $46,000 for legal fees, according to a filing the campaign made to the Federal Election Commission in mid-October. A spokesperson. The Goober Group couldn't be reached for comment. That's not in the story. I made that. It broke me. I'm sorry, that broke me. I can't. Goober Group. This is what I mean when I say astute political commentary. The description of this show. The Goober Group. I'm sorry. I'll get it together. The Goober Group. Goob. Yeah, fucking Andy always calling Goober. Goob. Oh, fuck. I can't even anymore. My evens are all gone now.
Brian, you're economic.
And then the Zionist is back in the chat over here. I'm gonna change the way I got the audio set up. Then you won't hear that when I'm like setting shit up over here. That'll be smoother. We're working out the kinks of the new layout. Yesterday, I had the clip of Biden speaking about it. I can pull it up if you want, but we'll just listen to the White House economist. He went on with Squawk Box on CNBC. To talk about the Goober Group. No. Yesterday, the Goober. I'm only half paying attention to what's going on around me right now because my mind is just Goober Group. And it's not even that funny. I've ran this, this is a dead horse by now. I've ran this one into the ground already. It's old, but we're gonna have a Goober Group t-shirt and everything. I'm gonna make this a something. I had a clip of Joe Biden speaking yesterday, I believe it was. Oh no, do I not have my Biden drop? Oh, come on, man. I don't have my Biden drop. Oh, shit. I knew I was bound to be missing one. Come on, man. Okay, go. Judy. I'm sorry, I've got a buddy. His mom's name is Judy. I pull if you've never seen Andy Griffith, you have no clue what I'm talking. You got some of the younger people in the audience are like, "What the fuck?" I don't even know where my. There it is.
Come on, man.
I gotta do so much shit. There we go. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Now you work the way you're supposed to. You're in the right spot and everything. Still working out the kinks. Still working out the kinks of the new setup. So I should re-intro the story probably so everybody knows what's going on. Uber group is big. So I believe it was yesterday Joe Biden started talking far more sternly towards oil companies and their, massive fucking profits. I'm not talking about price caps, but is starting to say something about a windfall tax, which I greatly appreciate. And this is the White House economist going on with Squawk Box earlier today to talk about this Biden proposal of a possible windfall tax. If it was a threat now, it was a threat that he made towards the oil companies that if they did not lower prices, there would be a windfall tax against them.
Council Director, you're not really on the political side of the White House, I don't think, and the strategists on the political side. So I don't even think it's fair, really, for me to try to grill you on this. I want to give you a pass. If you just don't want to comment on this at all as the economic director, because it's really more of a political.
If you don't, as the economic director, if you don't want to comment on oil prices, I'll give you a pass. What the fuck kind of... We're already off to a great start with this interview here on Squawk Box.
A fairness issue, I think. I will let you do that. Or do you actually want to say that there are economic benefits to this?
Well, let me try to put this in context, Joe, and thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
I think if we're talking about any of these conversations, we have to start by recognizing that we are not in normal times. We are in a time of war, and the global environment and the global energy markets are fundamentally affected by that reality. And the reason why we have had the supply crisis that we have had, and the reason why we have seen price increases that we've seen globally, is at the core because of the war and Putin's actions. And so companies that are in a position where prices have increased dramatically have reaped excessive profits from that windfall. And so, the question that the president was raising yesterday and the choice that the president was putting forward yesterday was that those companies, in an environment as unique as this one, where this is not about investments made years ago and returns on innovation, but instead a unique situation driven by a geopolitical crisis because of war, those companies have an obligation to act in the interests of not only their shareholders, but also their consumers and also the country. And so that was the point that the president was trying to make. The issue of a windfall profits tax is one that you've seen a number of other G7 countries move forward with. And the president is clear. What he would like to see is for these companies to actually step up and, for example, reduce the historic margins that they're charging in between the wholesale price and the retail price. That would be good for consumers, and in the long term, it really wouldn't have a long-term impact on their profitability.
But, Brian, in the history of the world, have you ever seen a situation where if you tax an industry or tax something, you actually get more of it? The quickest way to get less of something is to tax it and to regulate it. So we're already, draining the SPR. Some people think that's okay. Other people think that's not very wise
Energy
at
should
this
be
point.
nationalized.
So
Trust busting.
why make it harder for the oil companies to invest in more production by taxing the windfall? So you call
the issue isn't production.
Well, a couple of points. First is on the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Not only is it still half full, but we last week, as you know and you talked about, announced a plan to send certainty to the market that we will repurchase, and the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will repurchase oil when the price gets down to around $70 a barrel, which not only makes sure that that asset is stronger on the other side of this outcome, because we'll be able to repurchase more oil at that lower price, but also gives the market some certainty, something that that market actors have been asking for some time.
Fair enough.
But again, I just want to be clear what the president was articulating yesterday. He was articulating a choice that the companies have for months said that the better outcome for trying to address these historically unique circumstances are for private sector actions where they act on their own. And the president was urging them to do so. And something like the big spread between wholesale prices and retail prices, where that profit margin on every gallon of gas being sold is at completely historically unprecedented levels, that's something that could be addressed short of
deregulation. Indeed failed.
The president has
They
for
won't
months
accept
been
it.
clear
Yes.
that's the better outcome here, and he was just being very direct about that. yesterday.
But I mean, the Democratic position seems to be like, you know, let's put some of the regulations back in, opposed to, you know, oh, complete deregulation failed here. I mean, not complete deregulation. They still think there is a neoliberal solution to the problems we're facing right now. And it just ain't so. So we're going to move on to the breaking news portion of the show. We've got some stories we're going to be following here. There were 2 cops shot in Newark, New Jersey, and there was a manhunt underway. I don't know if there's been an update yet. We're going to watch this CBS News piece that I think aired like the 6 o'clock news.
We have breaking news in Newark, New Jersey. Police are searching for a suspect or more who shot at least 2 officers. Sources tell CBS News the officers were serving a warrant when shots rang out. Police say a gunman may have been on a roof. Both officers were rushed to the hospital. One was reportedly hit in the neck. Police are seen throughout the area and on surrounding rooftops. Governor Phil Murphy tweeted that he is aware about the situation in Newark and is following the developments. Let's bring in CBS News investigative producer Pat Milton. Pat, we are looking.
So the latest update is that there is still a manhunt ongoing right now in Newark, New Jersey. This information is a couple hours old, though.
At live photos right now where we can see a heavy police presence. What more can you tell us?
Yes, it's a very fluid situation.
I'm sorry, you guys
right
aren't watching
now.
this.
As you reported,
working out the kinks.
Officers, law enforcement are still looking for the shooting suspect. Apparently, what happened is the officers were shot while they were attempting to serve a warrant in Newark, New Jersey. The shooter was armed with a rifle, according to our law enforcement sources, and the person shot from either a rooftop or a window. The suspect remains at large. SWAT is on the scene. FBI has responded. Law enforcement, very heavy law enforcement presence on the scene. The scene is apparently an apartment building, and it's about 3 miles from downtown center of Newark. The officer, one was shot in the neck, as you reported. One officer was shot in the leg. They were transported to the hospital, and at this moment, they apparently are in stable condition.
That is good to hear, Pat. Obviously, this is a breaking news situation, and so things
good
are a
is
little bit
relative.
fluid. Do you know anything more about how police are now looking for that suspect that is still at large? Have they confirmed that it's just one person? And do we know anything about the surrounding area, if it's on lockdown, et cetera?
They believe that it is one shooter, but still, again, this is a fluid situation. There's a lot unfolding. Officers are secured a large area, a large swath near the apartment area where everyone is just at a standstill. They've got it all roped off. They've got numerous officers going through buildings, backyards, stores, searching for the person that is the suspect in this shooting.
All right. Our investigative producer, Pat Milton.
So as of like 12 minutes ago was the latest update I could find. There is still a manhunt underway. Authorities are still searching for a man. Apparently a 6-year-old was also shot. I don't know if so it does seem like this has something to do with the shooting that's going on. 6-year-old child, 2 adults shot in Newark.
That's also an ongoing investigation. The 6-year-old was not killed. She's in the hospital recovering. She had a collapsed lung. She's going to make it. There were 3 other individuals that were shot in that incident also, but it's an ongoing investigation.
So, I'm sorry, so 4 people were shot in one incident?
3 people were shot in one incident and 1 child. The child was 6 or 7 years old.
3 people, including 1 child? Okay.
No.
Okay.
2 adults and 1 child.
2 adults and 1 child?
Yes.
Okay. And was it do you know any information, was there a suspect that's on at the bar?
That's ongoing. It was a response to a shot spot.
So now I do not know if this is the same situation that's going on. But this is an ongoing, very fluid situation. As you can see, this was posted at 9:25 p.m. It was 45 minutes ago, something like that. So that's what we know thus far, and I don't know if this is connected to the 2 cops that were shot as well. But I would assume they have something to do with each other. Here's another story that's ongoing. This one in Denver. Let me hit the content warning for this one. This is also one of those that was ongoing as of the time that we came on. This was last updated a few hours ago.
Have others hurt in a shooting in Denver, and police looking for the suspect.
And
One
Sky
dead,
Fox
5
over the
injured.
scene on the east side of Denver. This is right near the Aurora border. Right now, Denver police looking for a dark-colored vehicle. You see that on your screen. Fox 31's Vicente Arenas is live on scene with the latest. Vicente.
We have been learning a lot this afternoon about the shooting that happened here. When we first arrived this afternoon, there were people crying. They were scrambling around, trying to figure out what happened right now on the scene. Let's take you closer in to see what exactly is taking place. Investigators walking around where 6 people were shot on a sidewalk by 3 people carrying guns. The 6 people that were shot were standing on a sidewalk on Colfax at Verbena. Denver police say 3 people jumped out of a vehicle and then began shooting. An adult man was killed. 3 men and 2 women also hurt, 3 of them critically. Ashley Thompson knows all of the people who were hit.
All of them. Except for the shooters, which I don't even know why they would shoot. Nothing warrants this. Nothing warrants taking somebody's life like this, dude. Nothing.
She, like many others, ran for cover.
We don't know what happened. We just hit the ground.
Investigators say the suspect's vehicle was northbound on Verbena Street. It stopped at Colfax, then multiple shots were fired next to the market. Alize Adams was working nearby when the shooting happened fast.
I just heard the gunshots, but I didn't see anything.
The 3 suspects jumped back in the vehicle, which was located a short while
3
later
suspects
at 12th and Yosemite, less than a mile away. The suspects then got into another vehicle, this one, which police are still looking for. Many people here are having a hard time.
I was in my room and I just heard like a rain of gunshots, and I ran over there and a couple of my friends were shot.
The motive is not clear at this time. Police so far do not know of any connection between the shooters and the victims. And this shooting today taking place in what is described as a crime hotspot. It's not clear how many extra officers might have been on the scene because of that designation in this area, but take a close look at the picture on your screen here. This is that SUV. All eyes from the police department looking for that SUV because it is believed that that is the vehicle that the 3 suspects jumped into after.
I'd usually tell you not to narc, but that kind of situation I think warrants it. It's like there's always exception to a rule. I do narc on those motherfuckers. Just another day in mass shooting USA. As far as I can tell, the manhunt is still on in Denver. I did not see an update that said anyone had been apprehended, and that's in the last couple of hours. Gonna hit the content warning one more time. We're gonna go to Florida. Trial of the Parkland shooter. Remember, kids, shoot up drugs, not schools. This was a sentencing trial, and I might need to adjust the audio on that one again. Sorry about that. This has been a sentencing trial for the Parkland shooter. One juror voted for life, received a sentence of life. Apparently, the parents of the victims were very unhappy with the verdict. They wanted the death penalty. I believe we are in the final stages here of the sentencing trial. Judge exploded on the public defenders. And once again, these are public defenders. I looked this up. These people are in a very high profile situation, incredibly high pressure, wanting to do a good job for someone everyone considers to be a monster. And this judge, I feel, has grandstanded. So apparently things got very interesting today.
No one jumped up to try to tap down that rhetoric. That is the rhetoric that I'm talking about. That is what I'm trying to be very clear on. Jeff Marcus, the state, they can hide behind their arguments, but we all are witnessing what is occurring in this courtroom.
Which is myself. I'm the judge, and I understand that I'm in charge of the decorum, and I feel that 99% or a great percentage of what has been said has been appropriate. Everybody has maintained decorum, but for a few comments, it's best to just move on as opposed to highlight them.
This is true, Judge, but I am witnessing a building of momentum, and I'm encouraging the court to direct the state to tap down on that momentum so it does not reoccur and it does not become a theme. Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, for the record, the only thing the state has said to any of these witnesses when they get up is, would they like to say something on behalf of the victim they're representing? There's been no encouraging or inciting, as Mr. Weeks has put on this record. That is a blatant falsehood and a recreation of the record. As far as no objections being made, it's the defense that could have objected. It's not the state's duty to object to their own witnesses when they're testifying.
Okay. Listen, I've already heard. If you have anything else to say, you can put it in writing at a later time. I've heard from both sides more than once. That's going to be it. I've made my decision. Like I said, 99% of what's been testified to has been appropriate. I do not want to highlight the few things that were said that were perhaps not appropriate, and let's move on.
Judge, I'm asking for 20 seconds back.
You can have as many seconds as you want in writing, and you can put all of your objections in writing. They've been made multiple times from your chief assistant, from Ms. McNeil, and I don't want to hear anything else. I've already heard it. Is there something that has not already been argued?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, exactly what is it?
Judge, before Mr. Schachter took the podium and testified before this court, I wanted to reflect that both Mr. Marcus and Mr. Satz looked at the statement prior to the reading. And so their implicit adoption of what he was saying, of this improper arguments, in the court should chastise.
Okay, but what you are doing right now is highlighting something and making more of a spectacle. So if your office in general does not want to facilitate or incite violence, then we need to just sit down and move on. That's it. There were 18 witnesses, 16 or 18 witnesses that testified today. There was nothing that was said until Ms. McNeil made her point made, and, you know, we're moving on.
But is the court going to do anything about maybe stopping it from happening again?
When these people are upset about specific things that have gone on from that table, like shooting the middle finger up at this court and laughing and joking, Ms. McNeil, be quiet. When these people have sat in this courtroom and watch this behavior from that table, and they want to say that they're not happy about it, what is the problem?
Judge, I have no problem because I have thick skin. But once you bring in my children, I think that's highly improper and it's being
I didn't even know you have children. I don't know what you're talking about. Your children? What about your children?
For them to comment on my children is highly improper, and for this court to allow that kind of testimony is also improper.
There was, I don't remember any comments about any children, and if there was, it obviously didn't, it came and went without me noticing it.
Judge, I can assure you that if they were talking about your children, you would definitely notice it.
You need to sit down right now. You're out of line. In fact, you're excused. You need to go sit in the back with your chief public defender.
He's the public defender, Judge.
Mr. Weeks, please ask the lawyer from your office to go sit down and not say anything else. To try to threaten my children and bring up my children is inappropriate. Go to the back of the room now. That just violated about every rule of professional responsibility that I have never. If you're
Who's this dude sauntering up?
Judge, I asked you to go sidebar on this matter.
You, sidebar or not, you don't have one of your assistant public defenders.
Wow, he just sauntered up. This is the Parkland shooters. This is one of the final hearings because the jury already returned their verdict in the sentencing trial for the Parkland shooter, Nicholas Cruz. And she is going off on the defense attorneys.
Say something about my children?
Judge, that same venom that the court is expressing is the same venom that defense counsel had to sit through this entire morning when
She
their
brought
children
up her
were
children
being
multiple
referenced.
times during the trial. Nobody knows if I'm barren or not. They don't know
Judge,
about my children.
Judge.
Sit down.
If she's
Sit down.
barren or not.
Sit down, Mr. Weeks.
Please do not summarily dismiss me.
I'm summarily dismissing.
Wait,
you.
who? No one knows if I'm barren or not. What in the fuck? Who says that? Other than like Barron Trump. Like no one knows if I'm barren or not. What the hell? Donald Trump himself when he was posing as Barron. John Barron. No one knows if I'm barren or not. Like what in the who says that?
That defense counsel had to sit through this entire morning when
She
their
brought
children
up her
were
children
being
multiple
referenced.
times during the trial. Nobody knows if I'm barren or not. They don't know
Judge,
about my children.
Judge.
Sit down. Sit down.
Judge,
Sit down, Mr. Weeks.
please do not summarily dismiss me.
I'm summarily dismissing
asking
you.
the
Go
court.
sit down.
I'm asking the court. I asked the court to go sidebar.
Go sit down. You don't threaten the
Judge, everyone
court's children. Your
in this
assistant just
courtroom-
did that. Go sit down.
No one in this courtroom had to endure what we had to
Go
endure.
sit down. Miss McNeil has made her children a spectacle more than once during this trial. That was her choice. You have absolutely no right to have one of your assistants come up here and suggest something about my children. Now, please go.
Fuck all your children.
You're inappropriate.
Figuratively, not literally.
Go sit down.
Don't fuck
Judge, may I have a
children.
brief recess?
No. Go sit down.
May I have a brief recess so I can speak to my attorneys?
So there you have it. I just wanted to highlight some of that wild back and forth in the courtroom. I don't even know what's left to be done. I don't even know what they are because the jury returned the verdict of life. It's like that's it. I don't know what other formalities they were meeting to discuss. And yeah, I do really feel like she's been grandstanding for the cameras, and this has been a very high profile trial. She was very rough on the defense throughout the entire thing. Moving to I don't even know how to transition from this. There's no segue there. I should have just came back and talked to you guys a little bit and introed the new show. You live, you learn. So the other day I was talking to my buddy. We were getting high on like he'll voice chat, video chat with me, and we'll get high together. and I was telling him about like one of the freaking newses this week or this past week was the attorney in Florida that fought the motorcycle laws, and he died in a motorcycle crash. The motorcycle helmet laws. He died in a crash without wearing a helmet, and I used Alanis Morissette's "Ironic." And so I'm talking to my buddy on video chat, and he said something about his bowl was in his pocket, and I started saying like, he's got one bowl in his pocket. And then I told him about using the Alanis Morissette song in the freaking news. Then I also told him about Kanye West getting kicked out of Skechers headquarters, and that I had thought about using Alanis Morissette's "Uninvited" because like the Skechers called him an uninvited guest or whatever. And I did eventually do that. I did that one, and the fucking artwork. My thumbnail game is on point, guys. I'm telling you. My thumbnail game is on point. Yay, kicked out of Skechers headquarters. But I used Alanis Morissette's "Uninvited." So I was like, that's 3 Alanis Morissette's references. And then my buddy said something about like, need another bowl to put in this bong or some shit like that. I can't even remember what he said, but he's like, you live, you learn. I'm like, that's the 4th Alanis Morissette reference. Sad that he took someone with him. She wasn't wearing a helmet either. She wasn't wearing a helmet either, clinically. You want to see a picture of him? I have one. Also, my thumbnail for that one was great. I cleared out the thumbnails the other day. Nope, there it is. There it is. Still got it. Yes, I have a picture of them alive. I think they're even hugging each other. That's where I got his headshot from here. Thumbnail game on point. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying my ass off. That's what the redesign of all this is about. This is to be more appealing to the YouTube algorithm and to people that stumble across the show and give us a shot. That's what all these thumbnails are about. Trying to kick it into high gear. I spent way too much time on that one. I love this one. Put the nose on him. This one's from last night. This the Pelosi attacker. Just Googled person with a hammer or man with a hammer or some shit. This one from the Freak Show cracked me up. Or this one where she's holding the rifle. Ooh, I love Lula with the thumbs up with Bolsonaro. I have to really think on it to fuck it up. Bolsonaro. Or however Dave Rubin said it in the background. He's crying. And it's working too. Like I'm up like 5,000% on everything. It's working on the YouTube. World's dirtiest man dies after a bath. I asked my buddy, I was like, would it be funnier if I had somebody there with a sponge? Fuck. Really, I like the media winch with me, but I think the pumpkin ended up looking like Hulk Hogan and not me. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so easy to make me read on a pumpkin, but no, it looks like a Hulk Hogan pumpkin. Looks like media winch carved a Hulk Hogan pumpkin. I photoshopped his hands. I'm gonna admit it. I made them bigger. His actual real hands you wouldn't be able to see if I hadn't photoshopped them to make them bigger. So you're welcome. I photoshopped his hands. Also from last night, the Dan Bulldog story. But him thinking kids are pissing in the litter box. RB, that's something that I couldn't have included in the I don't have enough time. I have to keep them under a minute. I didn't have enough time to include this in the story, but the journalist in me would have included that we do not know if a helmet would have saved him. He went splat pretty hard into a tractor trailer. Oh my God. Yep, that's one of the working out the kinks of the new layout. If I can't see what I'm broadcasting, then I don't know that you're not seeing my screen. Yeah, there's the bulldog and there's the tiny. I gotta do this whole joke again. I did indeed Photoshop his hands. I made them bigger, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see them. Love Merrick Garland laughing at him. There's the media winch with the Hulk Hogan pumpkin. World's dirtiest man dies after bath. There's Lula with the thumbs up with Bolsonaro crying in the background. His name's actually Bolsonaro. Jair Bolsonaro. That's the correct pronunciation. I've been fucking it up on purpose. Just want to point that out. Woman slips out of her cuffs and opens fire on the cops. This is the brand new thumbnail for the Freak Show that I just debuted a few days ago. Dancing to get out of a DUI. I use sexy cop outfit. The Pelosi attacker with the hammer. Now I will admit I've been a little clickbaity with the headlines, and I'm sorry about that. But like, I get rewarded for it. That was the thumbnail I've spent the most time on, because making that fucking record look like it's on the record player was difficult. Not difficult, it just took me some time. There's the lawyer who went flying off his motorcycle without a helmet. And there, yeah, okay, that's me showing off like my thumbnails and stuff. This one's really good too. Spent a lot of time on that one. Ooh, this is my favorite one. The Pope pointing at the porn. That video did not do as well as I expected it to do. I mean, it did okay. It got like 300 or 400 views. Come on, who doesn't click on that video with that thumbnail? Kanye getting kicked out of Skechers. I'm real proud of that one because I made the jacket look like his stupid ass jackets. It looked like it had dirt on it. Clickbait works. And also, like, I kind of clickbait towards the right wingers. I try to set them off. I try to trigger them with my headlines. And it works. It works. It's just the opposite. What I thought was going to happen, that I would trigger the right wingers to watch my videos. It doesn't actually result in me getting left people to watch it because it becomes more popular for some odd reason. I just get more and more chuds watching it. College professor is out after a viral video shows him screaming in a student's face. Robert Evans Pickard, a history professor, was seen on video shouting at a student to leave his classroom. Find out what this is all about. This happened at Tennessee State University.
I said, what is your name? Out! Get out! You have failed this course, whatever your name is.
Failed this course, whatever your name is.
Out! Out! I said, what is your name? Out! Get out! You have failed this course, whatever your name is. Out! Out!
I can't imagine what a fucking student could have done. This professor at Tennessee State University apparently talks to his students like that all the time. Battle Opossum, yeah, it's new look, same great troll taste. But I wanna know what the fuck that student did. So in a statement to WSMV-TV on Tuesday, Pickard said he had resigned. I deeply regret what happened in class. I lost my temper and did something I should have never done. I've been under pressure lately and have been frustrated with students who pay attention to their cell phones and laptops, then wonder why they get low grades. But that does not excuse my behavior. I apologized to the students and offered my resignation. I am now retired, as I had planned anyway. Please respect my privacy. TSU student Sharena Rains said in an interview with the outlet that she was so shocked by the outburst, I think he should be fired. On Rate My Professors, a website where students can write anonymous reviews about university teachers, Pickard's page was flooded with negative feedback following the incident. Several other posts dating as far back as 2017, he was also rated as an awful teacher, with commenters saying that they felt they were set up to fail his course. He didn't need to add that he planned it anyway. I know, it was a jerkwad thing to say. A jerkwad thing to say. Speaking of jerkwads, I hate to do it. I really do. I'm tired of talking about Kanye West. But he keeps doing shit that makes me have to talk about him. There's video. Kanye storms out of a kid's soccer game after a heated exchange with a parent. So this is at his damn kid's soccer game. I thought he was going to be yelling profanities at her and shit. The slicker boots. Yeah, his new fashion apparel is like construction worker. We watched video from his fashion show, and he was walking through mud. Yeah, I should have not played this. This is me falling prey to not watching shit beforehand. If I'd watched this, I wouldn't have played it. I wouldn't have felt that it was important enough, because he might have been snappy with that woman, but it wasn't a real outburst. He does look like he's upset. Working class chic. Some shit like that. I don't claim to know what's going on with Kanye. I do know that the odds of winning the lottery are astronomical. But somebody's going to win. Might as well be you, because nobody fucking won.
The Powerball jackpot we've been talking about for what feels like weeks now is up to $1.2 billion.
Yeah, no one won.
Billion with a B.
Night, so it just keeps rolling over. And so now we're thinking about what you could buy.
Right.
Now we're dreaming, okay? Yeah. Because you could buy a lot with $1.2 billion.
I'll go ahead, because I did do this story as a freaking news the other day. I can tell you that if you take the lump sum, which most people do, at $1 billion, it was $495 million was what you would get from the lump sum. Or you can take it as an annual annuity over something like 26 years. You would get more money that way, and it would probably work out better for you. It would probably work out better for you. If you take the lump sum, you need to invest that shit. Normal people don't have a concept of what a million is, let alone a billion, but a billion is astro-fucking-nomical. I guess not, because that would be a trillion or a zillion. I guess it is astronomical, though, because Carl Sagan, billion with a B. B.
It gets lower with taxes.
Sure.
That takes a lot out, but it's still nothing to sneeze at. So KTLA's Aaron Myers is live in Beverly Hills. You've been out there dreaming or thinking about where this money could go, Aaron.
Yes. Hi, you guys. Right now, I'm still window shopping because I was not the winner, nor was anyone else. As you said, it's going to roll over till Wednesday's drawing. But hey, if you were the big winner, why not go on a shopping spree on Rodeo Drive? For those men who love shopping, I'm sure there are some out there. Why not shop at Brioni? You could get a whole new wardrobe. There are stores all along this way. But most people I talk to say they would help family or donate. So that is a great way to spend the money as well. Now, although no one won the big prize last night, night. There are 2 tickets in California that had 5 numbers correct. One of those winners bought their ticket locally at 777 Market
Now,
at 1900
I do not
South La
encourage
Brea.
anyone
The
to
other
play
in
the
Visalia.
lottery.
As for the winners, they just
But
missed
if you go
the
buy yourself a
Powerball
ticket or
number,
two
meaning
when
they
it's
won
this
more than
high, that's just good fun.
$790,000. In all, California saw more than 670,000 winners of some type. In total, across
No illusion
the
that
country,
you're
there were
going to
13
win.
tickets sold that matched 5 numbers, but not the Powerball. In fact, more than 5.4 million tickets won prizes totaling $59.5 million. The drawing was the 38th since a ticket with all 6 numbers was sold. As for the winning numbers, take a look. They were 13, 19, 36, 39, 59, and the Powerball number was 13. The next drawing is Wednesday, and the estimated prize will be $1.2 billion, which would make it the 4th largest in U.S. history and the 2nd largest in Powerball's history. As for the odds of matching all 5 numbers and the Powerball, well, they aren't great. It's 1 in about 293 million, according to Lotto officials, so that's why we're dreaming. Now, if you were to win, you can choose to receive the prize as an annuity paid in 30 graduated payments over 29 years, or a lump sum payment of more than $596
Oh, yeah, 29. I think I said 26.
We spoke with legal expert Allison Treasel, who says before you win, you should sign the back of your ticket and take a picture of it, and then has this advice if you were to win the big bucks.
Once you are the big winner, slow down a minute. While California requires that you disclose your name and the place of the location, you don't need to do much else. So don't hold a press conference, hire a lawyer, hire a financial planner, and then decide whether you should take a lump sum or a yearly payment, depending on the tax consequences to you.
Now,
Yeah, most lottery winners,
we'll talk about
it ends
what
in
to do
tragedy.
if you are in an office pool, which I know we have that at KTLA, how you should handle that if your group wins. As for the drawing, the next drawing is Wednesday night at 7:59. Reporting live here.
Money doesn't magically make your life better. Usually amplifies the problems you already have. I mean, money can solve a lot of your issues. Being financially stable can solve a lot of issues. There is very much value in that. However, having money doesn't fix yourself. Doesn't fix the problems that you have. All right. I've promised you a new kitten. I will go see if the new kitten is available to be paraded in here. Give me just a minute or two. Oh God, we might even be able to get her on microphone. Oh, I don't think you guys could hear it. I don't think the mic can pick her up. This is Trixie. Animal video. Get the itty bitty baby. Smell bad, baby. I thought they cleaned your butt. She's a sweet little thing. She was up playing. I've got to take her back. She was very comfy. I think she's upset that she's no longer comfy in the blanket. Itty bitty, about 5 weeks is what they estimated she was. cute as shit tortoiseshell calico and a little bobtail. What is it? It's Tuesday night. What's going on Tuesday night? Is it down ballot or is it time for local love? What's going on the Echoplex? That's where we're going, I would assume. Matt Bender is on. Matt Bender, always an excellent watch. I don't see no Echoplex. Oh. Yeah, we got down ballot going on. I'm going to send you guys over to producer Dave. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I started saying that long before I'd even hit the raid button. We'll be back tomorrow night. We've got the New Hampshire debate between Don Bulduck and Maggie Hassan. I don't know what time that is. We might be coming on an hour early. Look out for that. We might be on at like 7. I didn't check the time. That's my bad. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.